And he would fain to fill his belly with the husk that the swine did eat, and no man gave him. And when he came to himself, he said, how many hired servants of my father have bread enough and to spare, and I perish with hunger? I will arise and go to my father, and will say unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before thee, and am no more worthy to be called thy son. Make me as one of thy hired servants. Just want to use for a thought this morning, when the well runs dry. Amen. You may be seated. When the well runs dry. Old folk, old country folk, that we consider to be illiterate because they had minimal to no education, used to communicate ideas through cliche. Amen. And they used to say, you never miss your water till the well runs dry. Man, old East Texas man came to me one day when his son was acting crazy, and he said he doesn't believe fat meat is greasy. Amen. Amen. Sister Round, my wife's grandmother, used to say, don't let the bulls hook you. Amen. But they had some wisdom that we did not understand at that time. Amen. I think you're right, sister. It was like again, if you'll allow me to use one of their phrases, it was bulk sense. Amen. It was not something that they acquired by listening. It was something that they acquired through experience. And I'm not going to, I don't want to be too critical of young folk, but I'm just going to say that you don't have the experience to make good decisions. Now notice in this particular parable, if we read the parable, and I'm not going to read through all of it, but I want us to understand that this person that we're talking about was the younger son. And I think the author used the younger son for this particular reason, because when I was young, and when most of you, those of you who are my age and close to my age, were younger, we just thought we knew everything, and our parents were stupid, and they were too restricted. And most teenagers now are thinking, I can't wait until I get grown. I'm going to do what I want to do. But you know how old I am, and I haven't done what I wanted to do yet. And y'all help me figure out how to do what I want to do. But teenagers are thinking, when I get grown, I'm going to do what I want to do. And this parable is about, when I get grown, I'm going to do what I want to do. That's what this parable is about. The ugly part about it, we got some grown folk. We got some folk who are old enough to know better, who are still thinking like teenage folk. They haven't figured it out yet, because they always have a safety net. Whenever they get themselves into a difficult situation, somebody always catches them. And they'll never learn the wisdom that our forefathers had unless somebody removes the safety net. I was talking to some young people a few weeks ago who were preparing for the STAR test, and they were not showing very much interest. And I was saying to them that you need your education, because they were talking about how much money they could make on the street. Man, I was telling them that you don't understand, that money's gonna run out real quick. You know, it ain't gonna last too long. If you can make it, and everybody wants to do what you're doing. If you're successful, everybody wants your position, and so you're constantly in danger. And then I mentioned something about you don't want to wake up in a cage every morning. And a young man said, have you ever been to jail? And I said, no. He said, well, let me tell you how it is in jail. And the stuff he shared with me scared me.
Yes, yes.
He said, I don't want to go back, but he was on a path to take himself right back to that situation. But he said, I don't want to go back there. And for a few minutes, I think I made him think and want to try to do better. But when he went back to his neighborhood and to his friends, and they convinced him to get on that same path again. I just want us to understand, if you'll allow me to use that cliche again, you never gonna miss your water till your well runs dry. The well will run dry. When we read this parable and when we look at what occurred here, Luke says the father had 2 sons. Now, I'm not commending the older son either, because he was arrogant. He was conceited. Some of us think because we do what our parents tell us to do, and we always, we become self-righteous, if you allow me to say that, and we think that God is pleased with our self-righteousness. But when you become self-righteous, you become conceited, and you are not very much good to God or anybody else. God, the one extreme is just as bad as the other. But the younger son was kind of like many of us were and many of us are now. He tells his father, give me my inheritance now. He only gets 1/3 now. The older brother got 2/3. He only gets 1/3 of it. Give me my inheritance now, and I'm going to go out and do what I want to do. Give me that portion that falls to me. And his father apparently, and I'm just going to inject this in, I'm going to surmise that his father had been trying to convince him to do right. And his father was somewhat like I am. When I get tired of talking to you, I'm just going to let life teach you. I'll just be quiet. I'm not going to argue with you, keep arguing with you, keep telling you, and have you, go back and forth with you. Sometimes you just have to be quiet, and life will teach you. And so his father gives him his portion. And he immediately goes out into what Luke said is a far-off country. Now, he's talking about the Jews. The far-off country is into Gentile territory. Now, here is the difference. The Jews were under the control of God. God said to them, if you do this, this is what I'm going to do to you. It didn't apply to the Gentiles, it applied to the Jews, because God fed them, God took care of them, God gave them their promised land. He gave them crops he fed them with crops they didn't grow, gave them houses they didn't build. He gave them all that they had, and he said that if you're going to live in this land, here's what you must do. Now, there ought to be some rules in your house with your children and with other family members too. Amen. If you're the provider, if you're going to live in this house, this is what needs to happen. And if he went into a far-off country, in other words, he went out there with his friends and the folk he thought were his friends, who were under no guidelines. The Gentiles were not under the guidelines that the Jews were under. I need to communicate that idea. And so he was able to do, as he thought, what he wanted to do. Sometimes you're not as bright as you think you are. Some of you haven't learned that yet. Sometimes you're not as wise as you think you are. There is a way that seemeth right unto man, but the end thereof is destruction. And sometimes we think we know what we really don't know. There was a part of a statement that I read one time he that does not know that he really doesn't know is a fool. Shun him, avoid him.
That's right.
And many of us are foolish in our decision making because we really don't know what we think we know. Wisdom comes through maturity and experience. Wisdom, I almost use an old folks term, and they said mother wit. Y'all never heard that? Comes through what? Comes through experience and maturity. I heard somebody say common sense is just not common anymore. Folk don't have common sense, but it comes through experience and maturity. You got to get some age and run into some walls before you learn some things. Now, the thing that I want to talk to you about, I'm not going to be long this morning, is that you can soften the blow if you listen to instruction. You're going to get some blows, but you can get a whole lot fewer if you listen to folk. Foolish people don't listen. Most tragedies occur because people who are inexperienced think the grass is greener, that's another cliche, on the other side. Now if you've never raised cattle, you don't know what they're talking about. If you go through the country, you see a cow with a head through the fence, standing in grass, eating grass on the other side. Grass is always greener on the other side. You always think that somebody else is doing a whole lot better than you're doing. You can always look at somebody. You think that Floyd Mayweather is living good right now. There are some folk who spent. This young man on TV say he spent $3,000 to go watch that fight. Now, Mayweather and Pacquiao split a $300 million purse. You spent $3,000 to go watch him. You could have spent $89 to watch him on TV, but you had to go off. You think that's living good? He said life is about where were you on May 2nd. You know where I was on May 2nd? In my house. And if I had $3,000, I would still have it. Your $3,000 is gone. I'm going to get off of that. That ain't where I'm supposed to be. We never have enough. And when we're immature, we never learn to appreciate what we have. Children don't appreciate what they have. They just want some more. And you look at all you've done for them, and you figure out. I don't recall very many times when I or those who receive said thank you. They don't say thank you a whole lot. They say thank you briefly when they get it off. They just like get it, smile, and run off. But we never learn to appreciate what we have because somebody always has something a whole lot better than we have, and we don't enjoy what we have. You know, if you are dressed well from Walmart, you don't want to go to school.
All right.
You got to have some designer jeans that cost $300 or something, so you can tell people your belt costs what's a $300 belt going to do when you wear your pants around your legs anyway? We don't appreciate what we have. You know, you don't want a regular cell phone. You want the most expensive kind of cell phone. But now, we simply don't appreciate what we have. The issue with this young man and the issue with us as a people of God is we think that God's rules are too restricted.
Yeah. All right.
The world is doing better.
Yeah.
The world is having a better time than we're having. The thing about the Israelites is they thought the Gentiles were having a better time than they were having. God said, don't do all of that nonsense. He said, if you act like the folk that were in this land before I gave it to you, I kicked them out. I'm going to kick you out also.
Yeah.
But we want to leave the church and go out into the world, or we want to bring the world into the church. Because we feel like the church is having a better time and God doesn't know what he's talking about. It's going to be a good time if he allows us to do what we want to do. And so if we can't do what we want to do in God's house, then we tell God, give me my portion that's fallen to me, and I'm going out and do my own thing. We never learn to appreciate who really loves us. I said in a message not long ago, we call our buddies when we want to go out, but when we get in trouble, we call our parents when we want to get out. Your buddy ain't getting you out of jail. You figure out who loves you when you're locked. I'm getting ahead of my message now. The young man did not appreciate his father's rule. And so he says, give to me my portion that falleth to me. And when he got his portion, he went to do his own thing. I'm going to assume this from the message because it's not written in scripture. Father got tired of talking. And so he sent him to Life's Academy. Life will teach you. Life is a master teacher. I'm talking about what teachers, you might even not be familiar with this, but teachers are familiar with this terminology now. There are no modified lessons. Ain't no special education in life. The objective is not on the board. Students know what I'm talking about. When you walk in the classroom, the objective is on the board. The life at Life Academy, the objective is not on the board. It's not going to bore you with lectures. It doesn't say anything. Every lesson is an exam. It doesn't address your learning style, whether it be auditory, visual, tactile, or kinesthetic. It doesn't assign you homework.
That's all right.
And every exam is just trial and error. Father sent him to Life Academy. Now the lesson that we are to learn from this passage. First of all, in Life's Academy, there are no restrictions. It's open enrollment. Anybody can get in. You can do your own thing, but tuition is not free. It's gonna cost you something.
All right.
You can party as long as you want to and as much as you want to as long as you pay for it.
Come on. Yes.
You'll always have friends as long as you can throw the party.
Yeah.
And you'll be educated at the best school there is. At home, the young man had everything free. He didn't have to draw from his inheritance because he drank from his father's well.
That's right.
And the bad part about it is that he didn't notice that his father always made sure that there was water in the well.
All right.
His father always made sure that there was water in, I'm going to say that one more time. His father always made sure that you better make sure to keep some water in the well.
That's right.
When you're a party animal, you don't care about keeping water in the well. You just care about how much water is in the well so you can get it out when you want to. But he drank from his father's well. and dry.
Yes, sir.
When our wants begin to overshadow our needs, our judgment is impaired.
Yes.
When there's abundance of resources, our judgment is impaired.
Yes.
We don't make our best decisions when we're living well. We seem to do a whole lot better thinking when we're in a difficult and destitute situation. Y'all gonna catch that in a minute. When that income tax checks come and we've been broke all the way through December, when we get that income tax money, we don't think about putting it in a savings account, do we? We just think about what we want and what we're able to get, and we go spend everything. Somebody say something about saving, you know, run your own business. When we lose our job and we get that unemployment check, we go, getting a job is not an urgent thing to do, as long as that check is coming in. But when that check runs out, we get serious about trying to find it. Are y'all with me on that? We don't make our best decisions when things are going well. When we're living off of our parents, we don't think about our future. We think about how life is right now. We don't think about how we're going to have to live 10 years from now. But when parents put us out, you know, that we get serious about how we're going to live.
That's right.
And we're not prepared. But this young man, when he went out and spent all of his money, when he found out what Life Academy had to teach him, the book said he came to himself. When he got some sense, in other words. When he got destitute and decided to do some real sound thinking. A whole lot of foolishness comes in your head when you got some money.
That's right.
But you get some common sense when you don't have any.
That's right.
A whole lot of foolishness gets in your head when you got a place to stay and you don't have to pay for it. You know, I'm going to move out and get my own place. And then when you find out you can't even qualify and rent costs more than you make in 2 weeks, and you haven't thought about light bill, gas bill, water, gas, transportation, or none of that, then you appreciate staying with mom and dad. Or you jump up and run off, and when you got yourself a little piece of job at McDonald's, you know, making minimum wage, and you stay in an apartment for 2 or 3 days, and then you find out you can't pay next month's rent, get put out, got to go right back home to your father's house. I'm not just talking about young people, some old people that have to go back home. We're not talking about age, we're talking about maturity. It's not as easy as you think. Anybody can be an armchair quarterback. Peyton Manning, about the sorriest person you ever saw when you sitting at home and you're not on the football field. You're not taking them licks that he's taking. But this young man, when he had spent all that he had and found out what life had to teach him, he began to do some sound thinking. And here's what the passage tells us. I'm going to be through here in just a minute. Falls hurt when the net is gone. You might not catch that. When you get in trouble and mom and daddy get you out, that's a net.
Yes, it is.
When you run out of money and folk loan you money that you don't pay back, that's a net. But when you can't borrow money and you're too old for mom and dad to catch you, falls hurt. They teach you a lesson. They teach you not to jump off a high building. The second thing the passage teaches us is that party animals run out of food. You're proud to be a party animal. But the passage teaches us that party animals run out of food. Here's another thing that passage teaches us. When everything goes out and nothing comes in, the well runs dry. Another lesson from the passage: when you run out of money, you run out of friends. You read the passage. I'm not going to read it for you. When you run out of money, you run out of friends. And then the final thing that I want you to glean from this passage: when you are really in need, you remember who your friends are. When you really get in need, you remember, where'd you get that from, Pastor? I will arise and go where? To my Father. To the same man that I talked all that trash to a few days ago, a few months ago, say, give me my portion that falleth unto me, and I'm going to go out and do my own thing. I know what better to do with my money than you know what to do with my money. There are too many rules and restrictions in your house. I'll tell you, you're suppressing me, you're keeping me from having a good time. Give me my money that falls unto me. I'm going out and do my own thing, and then when I get down and I'm feeding the swine, and I'm so hungry that my so-called friends won't feed me, no man gave me anything, and I want to eat with the swine, I'm going to figure it out. It's going to come to me then. I wouldn't listen to you yesterday, but you know what? I'm thinking about what you said now. I will arise and go back to my old man's house, the one that kept me down yesterday. I will arise and go right back to his house and tell him I'm not even deserving of being your son. I just want to be one of your servants. Your servants eat better than I'm eating right now.
Yes, that's all right. That's right.
When you're in need,
Yes, sir.
your parents' words sound good.
Yes,
You call your friends when you want to go out,
yes.
but you call your parents when you want to get out. I will arise and go to my Father's house. And I want you to understand that he realized something even more profound in that particular passage. Father, I've sinned against heaven. I got to borrow Brother Gaines' words again. We got a sin problem. We've got a sin problem. When folk leave the Lord's house and go back out into the world that the Lord brought you out of, we got a sin problem. The problem is not with our parents. The problem is not with our society. The problem is in here. We were born in sin and shaped in iniquity. God told us how to act. God told us what to do. And God is the best judge of how we should act and what we should do, because everything we have, he gave us. We've been drinking from his well all of our lives. We've been drinking from God's well all of our life. And all of a sudden we decide that God is wrong. God is too restricted. We tell God, I want to do what the other folks, what saved folks are doing. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to go drink all the water in the well. But I want you to know the well's going to run dry out there. It's all right when you first start dealing with drugs because you're not addicted yet. But sooner or later you're going to wake up one morning and wish you could arise and go back to where you came from. It's not going to be that simple. It's going to be a whole lot tougher to turn around and go down that road. When you get hung out there, you'll find out nobody's going to give you anything, and you just wish you could get up and go back to where you start from. You do a whole lot better thinking when you're in a bad situation than you are when everything is going all right. It might be going all right now, but it ain't going to go that way for long. If you get up and leave your father's house, you better get up and come to church church every Sunday morning. It doesn't matter where you were on May 2nd. It only matters where you are when Jesus appears in the air. But one day, Abel's going to blow his horn, and the dead in Christ shall rise first. It only matters where you are that day. And God said to you, I don't care where you are right now, I'm going to use the passage from Solomon. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face, and he don't forget about it. He said, and turn from your wicked ways. You got to turn around and go back down that road. I will arise and go to my Father's house. Then will I hear from heaven, and then will I hear. Amen. You never miss your water until the well. Amen. You can't keep dipping water out of the well. You better check the water level every once in a while. That be what the